Hello there, this is Generation Next 50, continuing our infrequent looks at this really good and overlooked run on the book by Jason Faerber and Ken Dodd. This is the milestone 50th issue, and it is celebrating it with a crossover with another book that was hitting 50 at the same time. Excellent Man, Nate Phoenix, for an unimaginatively titled story called War of the Muties. This is part 1, and part 2 is contained in Excellent Man 50. There is no fold-out recap page, which depresses me, but I also want to say that this is an issue that would benefit from one, because the core story here is spinning out of a random bit of backstory from a single issue of Generation Next that not everyone would have been aware of, or that they will have suppressed from their memories because it was a bad retcon that is only ever relevant for this story. I have actually looked at that issue ages ago. Generation Next -1. I looked at that one ages ago, as if this was all meticulously planned in advance. A new semester is starting at the Excellent Men's School for Dirty Muties, but now they are taking in students who are just normal human childs. A very interesting idea that gans a tiny bit unexplored. There is so much new ideas and dynamics you can spin out of this. You can do some really nice juxtaposition, or some new stuff with the school teen drama components. I should probably go back and quickly do the cast. Would have been nice to have a recap page that did this for us, but our main characters are the muty kids at the school. We have Foreskin, Ush, Decibel, Cinch, Julie Lee, and the pink-haired one who, unless I am mistaken, this is the last time she appears. She gets written out very early in this run, so I didn't know anything about her. You know who isn't here, who should be here, but isn't here? Maggot. Seriously, Maggot. He belongs on this team. He was meant to be there. We saw the last 2 issues. We saw how he gelled with these characters really well. But we didn't get them because comic book editors are pricks. We open with them reacting to the influx of new students at this school that prior to this was mostly just them and maybe a few extra younger muties. And then we get our bad guys, Dark Smurf, the evil version of Smurf from the Age of Armageddon reality. He now leads a team of minor Scott Lowball baddies. And the retcon that this story builds on is that awful one that a younger Emma Frosties, she came into contact with Dark Smurf, and they have this lame Beauty and the Beast riff, and Emma Frosties is culpable for a bunch of Dark Smurf's terrible actions, in the main Marvel universe. But speaking of my art's one true love, here is Emma Frosty's, and also a sexy harder sister. Our ongoing subplot is that Emma Frosty's sister, she has taken out of the school. The school, it needed money and funding, and Emma Frosty's sister, she leveraged her way into running the school. They learn about Nate Fenix on the news, and Emma thinks that it would be good to recruit him to join the school. I will get more into Nate Fenix and his character, and how they kept trying to integrate him into team books, but it was always like this. They would set it up and then give up on the idea after one story. So Emma Frosty's, she makes telepathic contact with Nate Fenix, and he sees Dark Smurf in her memories, and so that is all he needs to know to make him think that Emma Frosty's is evil. Meanwhile, the Generation Next kids, they are off shopping, and out here we learn that the pink-haired one, Terra, she fancies Cinch, and that is all I will ever know about her character. I think that is her reason for disappearing. And then at the school, Squealy is on the telephone trying to hire an odd Excellent Men character to become the school's new gym teacher. Didn't get excited. It turns out to be a crap Christopher Clairvoyant racist character that was rightfully forgotten about. We have a lot of stuff with Decibel and his uneven relationship with Ush. Just to clear some stuff up, after I did that video on Decibel's solo comic, I feel I need to explain his powers and what happened to him. Decibel, he was a teenager when his muty powers manifested, and it blew his chest up and it took his bottom jaw with it. He has got a huge hole in his chest and the bottom of his mouth is missing. His powers are telekinetic energy, and while it resembles fire, that is just how it manifests. He's not on fire, that is his energy flaring up. This issue will actually be a pretty cool comparison with him and another character in a few pages. But Decibel, he doesn't have to eat or drink or maybe even breathe, because he generates his own psionic energy that sustains him. The scarf thing, this face covering he usually wears, that is mostly to hide his visible injuries, his disfigurement, so that he can pass for reasonably normal. He isn't really powered up here. The scarf, it's just for show. It's not like holding in his energy. And he can speak via telepathy. We have some potential romance here with Mur and Cinch, but they get attacked by a giant snot monster. He is actually a snot monster, and he throws snots at people. It is quite embarrassing for Cinch and Mur that they get beat very quickly by the walking snot, because his snots, they nerf psychic attacks. And there is Mur in costume. Mur is probably my favourite of the Generation Next characters. Then Decibel and Foreskin, they are on a ferry and they get attacked by another of Dark Smurf's squad. And this one is Holocaust. And if you want to understand that name, let me explain it to you. In Strife's strike file from 1993, it featured a teaser image of a new bad guy who was going to be introduced called Holocaust. But the picture doesn't look like Holocaust, and the description and stuff, it seemed to be this character here, Fever Pitch. Holocaust, he wasn't introduced until 1995, whereas this guy was introduced a few months after Strife's strike file. So my belief is that this character was originally called Holocaust, and they changed it to Fever Pitch because they felt the name was a bit inappropriate. And then 2 years later, they changed their mind about that, and we got a vaguely similar looking character called Holocaust. So this is Holocaust, and we compare him and Decibel. The idea is that maybe Decibel is just like him. His body is a shell for his energy form, and Decibel will end up like Holocaust in the future. I've never really felt much for Foreskin, the character, not my own. But we have a string of great bits with him here. First, he tries to save this drowning man, and the guy, he is like, I don't want to be saved by no stinking mutie. And so Foreskin, he says that he's not actually a mutie, and he was bit by a radioactive elephant, and that is why his skin is grey. Fun little bit. And after Decibel gets his bollocks kicked in by Holocaust, we have my favourite thing ever. Superhero trying to talk things through with a bad guy, trying to reason with them or trying to work things out. Foreskin, he says he will surrender without a fight if Holocaust helps him save the drowning people, which he agrees to. This is the most I have enjoyed the Foreskin character in all of the Generation Next series. The thing with Generation Next is you have three great stars, Decibel, Ush, and Muh. You have three great pre-existing characters, Emma Frosty's, Squealy, and Julie Lee. And then you have the rest, most of whom ended up dead after the series was cancelled. Here we have the remainder of the team attacked by some more of Dark Smurf's cronies. This is the least compelling of the fights because there isn't character stuff going on like with Decibel and Foreskin, and there isn't a snot monster like with Muh and Cinch. We are just seeing Ush and Julie Lee struggle to fight these guys. Terra, she is also there. Terra, the pink-haired one, she is there, but she is knocked out off panel. And then to really hammer the point home that Terra isn't worth thinking about, the bad guys, they only take Ush and Julie Lee and they leave her behind. Then Squealy, he gets punched by what isn't Steelman's brother, but was probably meant to be Steelman's brother, because Steelman's brother has ties to all these other bad guys we are seeing, but I think he was swapped out last minute, and so this isn't Steelman's brother. It just looks a lot like Steelman's brother. Emma Frosty's, she rushes to her student's aid because she is the perfect mother hen. And we have some stuff about how her art students all died. And then Nate Fenwick shows up just in time to end the issue. This is a really good comic. There is a lot of fun to be had in this. We have a bunch of fights. We have some fun character stuff. We have Emma Frosty's. We have Emma Frosty's and her sexy harder sister. We have fantastic art. Even if the story does build on a crappy retcon about Emma Frosty's and Dark Smurf, this is a very enjoyable issue. I've got to be true to myself and give this 7 thumbs up.